filled up.
Hello, everyone. How wonderful it is that we're all able to gather together. Can we pull everyone together so that we can start the program? Can everyone hear me? Louder, like that? Is that better? Okay. It's wonderful that we can all be here. When you think about how long it has been at Hilltop or any other facility, program, business, where we've been able to gather like this, how long it's been since we've done that, it makes this event even more special. Not to mention the fact that we have the Fisher family here, and we have such great weather. So it's great to, really very appreciative of having you all here. It's a very short program. I'd like to introduce to you our board president. Sissy has been with us as a parent of a student here and joined the board 8 years ago, has been board president for 7 years. She's going to share some thoughts about the Fisher family, and then you're going to get to hear from them, and we'll also unveil the plaque. For those of you who are asking me or wanted to ask somebody about the Fisher Hall is directly across from the building that is behind me. You will notice above the front door, it officially says Fisher Hall. So you get a chance to see that on the way out. But again, thank you for coming. So Sissy Wicks, President of the Board of Trustees, how about a Hilltop welcome?
Hi everybody, I'm pleased to be with you all today. Tom, thank you for ordering this incredible fall day. Couldn't be any better. And I'm happy to be here to dedicate the building to Hilltop's founders, Jim and Alyssa Fisher. As I look around, I see teachers and administrators and our esteemed head of school. I see students and parents and a lot of alumni, which I love. And I see friends and supporters. But most importantly, I see a group of people who have passion for and fierce dedication to our little school. 50 years ago, a group gathered in the same way, much smaller group. In 1971, people looked a little different. The guy's hair was really long, clothes were weird, but they were all gathered together for the same reason we are here today, and that is to support Hilltop. There were 6 teachers and 4 students when our doors opened at Cabrini College on September 12th, 1971, almost 50 years ago to the day. As the decades passed, Hilltop grew beyond the small space at Cabrini to this beautiful campus and embraced a more diverse population of students with different educational needs and experiences. It grew beyond its scope just to educate kids with learning differences to embrace students who are not thriving in traditional school settings. Its mission became more diverse and more inclusive. Today, 50 years later, we continue to expand our reach to touch lives of the students and families that cycle through Hilltop. We are a school, and we are also a place where kids can grow, can feel safe, can figure out how to navigate a complicated world, where families can take a breath and share their concerns. We are the junction between academics and life, between youth and young adulthood, between students and families, between high school and the next step, between present and future. Every single one of us, everyone here today, and everyone that walked the halls since 1971 has been touched by this school. For families like mine and a kid like mine, Hilltop is transformative. I often wonder where we would have been without our experience here, without that kernel of an idea that Alyssa Fisher held on to so tenaciously. Remember that it takes one small ripple, a ripple of hope, to build a current that can sweep down the mightiest wall of exclusion and resistance. 50 years ago, through relentless effort and unwavering determination, the Fishers saw that their idea that kids with learning differences need a better system come to fruition when Hilltop Preparatory School opened its doors. 6 teachers and 4 students, and look at us today. Here we are embarking on a new school year with an extraordinary student body, exceptional teachers, and the hope, the promise of another 50 years. I am proud to dedicate the building to the Fisher family. Thank you.
Oh, God.
Mr. Bill Fisher is here representing the Fisher family. Unfortunately, Dr. Fisher is not feeling well. But Bill and Cindy, his wife, and their 2 children are all here. And Bill, would you like to represent the family?
Thank you, Sissy and the board of directors, Michelle, and all the faculty and staff that helped arrange what's happening here today. I'm going to save Tom for the end of my discussion. First things, Dr. Fisher's 85 years old and is getting on in years and getting on in health and a little immunocompromised, and so it was decided it wasn't a good idea for her to join an event like this. Even though it's a very special event, it's very important, and she's going to get all the details, I will promise you. So thank you for coming for that. The other member of the family, Reverend Fisher, he's here. As much as I want to give Tom credit for the weather, Reverend Fisher took care of it. And I know Sandy Clayton and Marion are back here, Marion Casabra back here. You would recognize that the Rev would say he's not here just because he's been unavoidably detained. He left us in 2014 and he's still watching, so he's also with us. Tom had asked me to say a few words about the Fishers and Hilltop and 50 years, and 2 things came to mind right away. The first one was that's easy, because I lived through it, and I am the longest or the youngest full-time employee ever hired by Hilltop. I started when I was 13, and I was associate landscape engineer for the school back in 1976 when they ended up at this property. The second thing is I know the secret at Hilltop, and the secret is that Hilltop changes lives, and that it's that simple. That's all that happens. So what I want to do, just take a couple minutes. I'm going to share with you some things you may not know, some things I know you know, and then I do have a note from Dr. Fisher that I'm going to read for you. So a little quick history. As you heard, the school started in '71. My mother was teaching in a school that had a bunch of kids with all types of developmental educational issues in one classroom, and she identified that there was one specific group that were being terribly underserved, and it's the students that are now served and have been served by Hilltop. 6 faculty, 4 students, $10,000, part of which from my grandfather, and the good wishes of Sister Regina Casey at Cabrini College, who said this is an educational idea that makes some sense. So they gave the school room in a small one-story dormitory between what was the library and the main building on that campus. Between that time and '76, the school had its lower school at one point at the Radnor Friends meeting. The upper school was the Armenian Church in Wynwood, of all places. Both of those religious organizations saw the same thing. This is an educational idea that needs a place to grow, so they gave their space for the school to go. And then in 1976, they landed here on this nice little 24-acre property in, 19010. Which still, it's a neat place. I haven't been here a little bit. My daughter was old enough to see this place. My son's going, this is not bad. This is okay for the property. And I was also asked to mention, if you want to learn more about that, the social media stuff that's going on at Hilltop has a lot of material and pictures and stories coming along about the history of the school. So the commercial for the marketing folks is take a look at that, because there's some really neat stuff, some black and white photos actually that are in the materials that are being shared there. So how does it change lives? I'm 59 years old today, actually.
Wow. Happy
And
birthday, Barry.
that's not the scary part. The scary part is I've been here half an hour. I've already seen 7 of my former students who are also in their mid or late 50s. That's the scary part. And you know what? They're all doing great. They're doing great. I'm a 14-year-old wrapped in a 59-year-old body. The students that I've seen, just in the short time I've been here already tonight, are doing great, and they're terrific.
Wow.
I had the opportunity, well, when I talk to them, and Facebook and things, I'm still involved with some of these folks around the country, and they check in every now and then. One of the common themes is, Fish, I got to tell you, the Rev really fixed me. I was in a bad way when I got here. Or the Rev being Reverend Fisher. Or Hilltop didn't change my life, it saved my life. Okay. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago, I'm playing golf at the Hilltop tournament. My son and I just made the turn. We're in between the 11th green and the 12th fairway. Nice young lady comes up to me. There was a little backup, introduced herself, and she goes, "Oh, you're that Bill Fisher?" I said, "Yes, I am that Bill Fisher. Is that okay?" She says, "I got to tell you, Hilltop changed my son's life." First thing out of her mouth. So that's the secret. Hilltop changes lives.
Amen. Amen.
The secret sauce is the academic program and the clinical program. The academic program is a regular and was founded as a regular college preparatory, regular diploma granting private school in the state of Pennsylvania. It was never a special ed school.
Amen.
By design.
Amen.
The second part was the clinical program. This is something that all of you already know, so I don't need to go into details, but what I can say generally for anybody who doesn't know, if you are 13 years old and you're at one of the local high schools here, like I'll pick on mine, Radnor, and you've got an auditory short-term recall problem, and you leave math, and the teacher says on the way out the door that you need to do the problems on the out pages, right? You notice all the kids are laughing, right? So you get home, you don't do the homework because you never heard it. I mean, you heard it, but it didn't get locked in. You come in the next day, teacher says, "All right, Bill, we'd like you to put problem 13 up on the board." What problem 13? Okay? I'm potentially embarrassed. The teacher's upset with me. My friends are laughing. That creates a little baggage, as Reverend Fisher used to call it. Baggage. Okay? Another kid in the room who has a sequential nonverbal expressive issue, he gets the problem. We'd like you to come up and write one of the even problems on the board and show us all your work. You just ask the kid to do the thing he can't do. First of all, never got to see the problem because it wasn't odd numbered. And now you've got to do that in front of the class and do it with fluency because you're in front of the whole class. You don't want to do it, short. You want to do it real fast and get out of there. That creates baggage. The beauty of the clinical program is it gave and still gives all the students at Hilltop a place to park the baggage, right? Because when you come to a place where it's safe, first of all, because you're not going to get, in trouble in those ways here, because the teachers are in on it, your fellow students are in on it, the administration is in on it, everybody knows what the game is.
Amen.
And you don't have to worry about that. Secondly, you get here as a new student at Hilltop, and you look like this. When you get here, because you're carrying all these bags, as Jim Fisher would say. And about a year in, when you find out it's okay and you actually believe it's okay, because you've lived it, you get about 3 inches taller.
Wow.
And you're able to set that luggage aside and just deal in the stuff you got to deal with. So the magic of Hilltop is the combination of the really high academics, the clinical program, everybody's in on the game. It's a safe place where you can be, and you not only learn how you learn, not how everybody else learns, because over at Radnor they teach you how everybody should learn. Right? Here they teach you how you learn, and how
Amen.
you learn, and how you learn.
Amen.
And then they get you to work on the social relationships, all those learning styles, empathy, conflict resolution, and self-awareness in the group side twice a week.
And Bill, I was a good example, Bill.
Yeah, the suggestion inside, one of my 50-year-old former students says, they really ought to do this in all the public schools.
Amen.
And I'm thinking, can you imagine if they ran the group route? I mean, the students that are here, can you imagine if they ran that group program in the public schools? It'd be crazy. Those parents would go nuts, right? Who knows what my kid's going to say in school this week? But that's the magic sauce. That's what goes on here, and that's why it works so well. So what Hilltop does is it gives the students the academic background they need and the tools they need to be the masters of their own learning and successful in that environment out there. And once they get out there, they go on to post-secondary ed, they go on to the trades, they become business people, they become leaders of their community. They do all the things that all the other kids do that graduate from high school. The only difference is these kids know more about how they learn and function out there than anybody they come in contact with.
Amen. Amen.
And that's the gift. That's what they get when they go through Hilltop. And that's the legacy that Tom Needham and the staff here have carried on for the last quarter of the 50 years that the school's been in existence.
Amen. Amen.
So that's the message. That's it. And you're all here to recognize 50 years of that. So
Billy hit the nail right on the
thank you
head.
very much.
Billy hit the nail right on the head.
So a message from Dr. Fisher, and I quote, and those of you who know her will recognize that I'm quoting when I say these things. She says, when Mr. Fisher and I planned Hilltop, we knew for it to be successful, it could not depend solely on just the two of us. We had to have a well-trained staff, a board that supported what we were doing, and specialists who faithfully believed in the school's mission. Fundraising would be a constant activity because Hilltop needed to be an independent private school. As the school comes together today, the 50 years we celebrate demonstrate how blessed Hilltop has been and how important those components turned out to be. Our graduates give us pride and joy in their accomplishments, and while Mr. Fisher and I are not with you physically today, we know that he would appreciate the naming of Fisher Hall, as I do to commemorate all the efforts of everyone that has made Hilltop a reality. Thank you to Tom Needham and the trustees for this honor. As the school goes forward to serve middle, secondary, and 13th year college preparatory students, I look forward to hearing the continued success of the school and the progress of those students.
Amen.
That's Elisa Fisher. So on behalf of the Fisher family, including my wife Cindy and my daughter Kelsey, my son Nicholas, my sister Deb, who couldn't be with us today, and Dr. Fisher and Jim Fisher, I would like to thank Tom Needham.
Absolutely.
Over the past 18 years or so, Tom has been a wonderful steward of the vision that my parents had for the school, has been very diligent in that in his role as the head of school. We believe him to be excellent at that work, recognize him as a really great professional and an advocate for all of these students and the kids that have come before. Also appreciate him especially as a very good friend of my father, which I found out subsequent to my departure here. They became friends and shared a lot of really good time together. So we appreciate that. Most of all, he's also become a friend of my family. So I appreciate Tom, in addition to everyone else that has been mentioned, for his work in carrying on the vision that the Fisher family had, my parents, and we all appreciate very much this very nice honor, naming the building across the road. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
There is cake and festivities in the large commons. So is this door going to be open, Michelle?
I'm going to go open it in a second. Yes.
I can't hear you.
Yes, I will open it in a second.
Okay. The door will be open shortly, but please come in and please make sure you all get cake. You are not allowed to leave